Hello everyone, I'm Nini FC and this is Blue Lions TV. And welcome to another match review of England's 2-1 loss to Croatia in the World Cup semi-final. We're not going to be making it to the final and yeah, it's just kind of heartbreaking really. Just kind of upsetting. I mean, Croatia, they were that final hurdle. Let's be serious. With this England team, every time I've been speaking about England performances, a lot of the good stuff we do comes down to a lot of physicality, in terms of work rate, runs in behind, stretching the play, runs in behind as well. And, I have alluded to this in previous match reviews, and that's the fact that sometimes you need to have a bit of quality in the final third, because if the play constantly gets broken down, you're given the opposition counter-attacking opportunities, meaning that you then have to track back to, get in your positions again. And then when you get the ball again, it's about making those same intense runs in behind and, runs to stretch your play. There's a lot of running that players in the England team have to do. And after a while, you get tired. And, the first time I noticed this was in the first match review I did after the, for the Tunisia game. Second half, you could see the intensity dropped because we weren't pressing as high, we weren't closing down as much, and that was because the players were tired. Because this team needs to run a lot, and this team needs to fight really hard. And as we could see near the end, obviously I'm going to get into that later, but tiredness, it cost us. It played a part in what happened, and when you're tired, your concentration gets poor. You make simple mistakes. And yeah, that's the real negatives when it comes down to things like this. But honestly, the start was fantastic. Kieran Trippier, if any player in this tournament deserved to score a goal like that, it had to be Trippier in my opinion. For me, by far easily the best right back this tournament. The most consistent, the most dangerous, best defensively, best in the final thirds. And, as I kept saying, this guy's been slept on for a while. There is a reason why Tottenham didn't care when they sold Kyle Walker, because they had Kieran Trippier. And you could see that before, in Walker's final season at Spurs. Trippier was introduced in the team, Walker was out. And it didn't make a difference. It wasn't as if Spurs got weaker. And I think this guy's a very, very good player. And he's definitely, he's done bits in terms of his reputation. But, he deserved that goal. It's a shame how the game ended, getting that groin injury. It was upsetting. But even then on, England were causing Croatia problems. The game was pretty even. With the pressing, the runs in behind. Because, we've got the legs, we've got the pace. That was really affecting the Croatia defence and the team. We were able to stop the influence of Modric and Rakitic getting on the board as much. And in turn, we were stopping them, obviously, doing much in the final thirds. You guys, as I was saying at the start, once you can't run anymore, once the pressing goes, you can see the influence of Modric and Rakitic in the team. And in a way, this is why technical abilities always play a massive key part in tournaments like this. It's the technical abilities, it's the skill, to keep the ball in the final third, make the right decisions, control the ball when you need to, strike the ball with the right shooting technique when you need to. Technique from passing as well. That all plays a massive difference. And Croatia, even though they didn't probably play their best game, they definitely got into the game and they definitely exploited, they exploited the tiredness in England. And I was thinking there were things that Southgate could have done. I think a lot of you guys know what I'm going to say, but I really feel that Ruben was needed. I mean, out of all the players in that England team, Ruben's the guy that gives the ball away the least out of all of them. He makes the right passes. He wins the most free kicks with his runs from deep. And in the final third, he makes the right passing decisions as well. And, I had a feeling that we'd never see him throughout this tournament. I don't understand why it became like that. There were times where Ali and Lingard in particular, tired. These guys... The whole game for them is about making these runs in behind, supporting the attack, constantly running, constantly sprinting. And you could see that they just couldn't really provide much quality at all in the final third. And I was hoping that Southgate was going to make the brave decision and bring on Ruben. I don't understand why he didn't think he'd be beneficial to the team. We could have continued that same style of play. It wasn't to be, and of course with Croatia, I mean, we were seeing it in the second half. You could see the tiredness already. And what do I mean by that? Look on the flanks. What we were doing well in the first 60 minutes was stopping Croatia's threat on the flanks. Obviously, anytime we were on the ball, you see Lingard making runs out wide, Sterling as well, Ali as well, reducing their threat. And that's the thing, you know, once you stop Croatia's threat out wide in terms of their fullbacks getting forward, or Perisic and or Rebic on the ball, you know, that stops Modric and Rakitic in terms of not stopping their game, but it does greatly reduce a lot of the good things they can do, you know, because these guys are pass masters, especially Modric. And with Modric, all you need to do is have guys stretching the play, spreading the play, and then he can unlock you. He can find the passes between the lines. He can get on the ball. He can dictate the proceedings, you know, dictate. That's a quality that's slowly starting to come back with guys like, you know, him, Jorginho, and Jorginho, I mean, and others. But this is what I mean. Because that press went, we weren't able to stop them, weren't able to force them back in their own half. Their midfield got on the ball, and once that was happening, you know, Croatia became dangerous. They became scary, and you can see in their equaliser, you could notice that it was getting weak down the flanks. You know, for me, in my personal opinion, I'd probably say that Ashley Young has been the worst player for England in this tournament. I think in terms of his quality in the final third, hasn't really been there defensively as well. Too often, I don't see him getting tight enough to guys putting crosses in. At the same time, guys like Ali were supposed to, you know, drop deep to help support. But I mean, this guy's exhausted himself with all the running he's doing. I mean, think about it like this. You know, you're playing a game like nearly every 3 days, and when you're playing these games, it's very, very intense, very intense. So it's natural that everyone was going to be pretty tired for this game, in particular England players, because a lot of the stuff they do is off the ball. It's not with the ball. Oh, it was frustrating, but they got the equaliser. I mean, I can sympathise with Walker a tiny bit. He thought the ball was coming. I mean, the right technique was obviously a diving header, but then it was good play by Perisic. So, you know, good tenacity to get in the box, and he put his foot through, equalised, and yeah, England, they tried, they huffed and puffed. You know, I don't know. You can't fault the England players for their application, their effort. I mean, it's always been there throughout the tournament, 100%. But I mean, it's just the quality at times of final thirds. I'd have to say maybe Sterling has been disappointing from a technical aspects. I don't know. Of course, it's you know, you can't put that pressure on him. You can't expect him to be the Hazard of the team. Of course not. But I don't know. You know, you'd think by now, especially when you're playing the type of game where you are able to run at people, there's space to play, that he would be a bit better with what he does. But I mean, at the same time, let's be serious. The service wasn't always there, but you're just hoping you're hoping for some magic from Sterling to provide something different for the team. It never did come, and I don't know. His application was there, his intelligence with his movement, etc. But from a technical and skill point, it was lacking. I have to say Henderson too. I think he's had a so-so World Cup in my opinion. My point is, he has to play too many passes before he plays an accurate one. You know, 10 passes to play one good pass isn't good enough in my opinion, especially when the focus is on runs in behind. You know, the delivery to these guys needs to be on point for them to exploit that space, but too often it's a pass that's wrong, or it's poor play from the guys making those runs. And after a while, when you're not capitalising on those moments where you are getting in those danger zones, getting in the half space, then naturally you are going to pay the price. Now, of course, there were some chances, Harry Kane in particular, you're hoping he would have made it 2-0 from that position, his bread and butter. It wasn't to be. But yeah, of course, game ends 1-1. Go into extra time. First half of extra time, it's looking all right. But then, I don't know, Southgate's decisions. Personally, I feel Ruben needed to play in this game. His technical abilities, as I was mentioning earlier. You know, bring on an Eric Dyer. I don't understand the point. For me, you should only bring on Eric Dyer if you're going to play him in a back three to replace one of the defenders. Let's say a Walker, for example. In midfield, I don't really think he provides anything. Even when it came to playing up from the back, there were a lot of times I was noticing Dyer playing the overly safe option and not playing the forward pass. I mean, if there was anything I'll give Henderson credit for, it was the fact that when it came to playing out from the back, he would play that pass. He wasn't nervous. He was playing without fear. When Dyer came on, he was a bit ponderous on the ball, playing it back way too many times. And yeah, it just slowed down what we can do, because really, with England, most of the time it's about bypassing the midfield and getting balls straight to the front guys. So when you're playing that type of way, you have to be very quick when it comes to playing out from the back, because obviously it could take a split second for a guy who's in space to not have that space afforded or available to him anymore. And of course with Dyer, he's not going to provide that, and even some of his crossing technique as well. Everything's just driven in the box. I think Rashford too, application was good. But again, some of the ability in the final third just wasn't there, and I got to say I was pretty disappointed with Rashford's crosses inside the box. I didn't understand why he was a set piece taken near the end. It was just driven crosses all the time. There was no whip, no curve, no bend. And I'm just thinking, really, this is the only guy that can be obviously that can be the set piece taker at this time. It made a massive difference not having Trippier taking them or having Ashley Young, because let's be serious, they're one of the main reasons as to why we've been so profitable from set piece situations. I think Rashford didn't take a single good one when he came on. And I don't know. You know, Vardy comes on too near the end when it's too late. After Croatia made it 2-1. And that was pretty disappointing too, you know. Maybe Wenger had a bit of a point where Kyle Walker had a mistake in him. I mean, I agreed with the statement when he made it. You know, Walker is that type of player. How many times was he slicing these balls? Instead of getting his foot and his weight underneath it to hit it away, he's trying to kick it with obviously, you know, with his foot. He's slicing it every time. And with those poor clearances, it's just putting us under more pressure. And of course, that situation then, where I feel that it was due to a lot of players being tired as well. A very sloppy mistake to allow Mandzukic to have the effort. I mean, really, it wasn't synonymous with much of what we've been doing this World Cup. I mean, most times that back line has been on point. It has been, most times the positioning has been good in terms of keeping that back five. I'll probably say that Young has been a bit of a weakness. But I don't know, Walker should have done much better in that situation, because then, I mean, it's going to sound harsh because obviously Stones should have been more aware. But the thing is, when you take responsibility if you're Walker, that means that, you know, and you get back in your back three position, that means that Stones wouldn't have had Mandzukic coming in from behind. Stones wouldn't have had to have pushed out to try and cover some of the space that Walker left in behind. And then if you're not putting Stones in a situation like that, he's not going to make that mistake where Mandzukic is going to come in from behind. So, I don't know. I personally felt it was Walker's fault, because, you know, this is how football works, you guys. Once someone's out of position, you do have to step out a bit to obviously try and, you know, reduce some of the spaces. So, you know, it was hard. Of course, Vardy coming on too, he wasn't going to provide much, really. I don't know. I just didn't feel the Dyer substitution was needed at all. I think Ruben should have been the guy. Keep the pressure. England can only play one way. I think either Lingard or Ali should have come off. Or maybe Ali, because it's not as if he's been fully fit. I mean, he's had an injury already. I don't understand the reluctance on Southgate's part to stop using Ruben. I mean, have you not seen the benefits he's brought when he's come on? I don't know. Sometimes in situations like this, you do have to... You can't always be pragmatic. You do have to risk it a bit, you know. I think it would have been better going for the brave approach, going out fighting, going out where we made a proper effort. It wasn't to be. Credit to Croatia. I think out of all of the nations in this World Cup tournament, they've been one of the best footballing nations for a while. Credit to them. A lot of fantastic players. It should be a decent final against France. I think it's going to be a tactical affair, but unfortunately, you guys, it's not coming home. England are out of the World Cup. Again, credit to the guys. Credit to Southgate for doing a lot of new things to the players' application. You know, with guys like You know, Lingard and Trippier. You know, I thought Maguire, one of the standout players this tournament. Going to be interesting to see how his career pans out. I think that he's shown that he can play at a high level. Played with a lot of confidence, driving out from deep as well. It's going to be interesting to see what this guy can do. But you guys, Croatia beat us 2-1. We're out of the World Cup. That's it. Obviously, we're playing against Belgium. You guys, the motivation, man. And I'm not going to lie, I'm really disappointed. I'm really upset. But, you know, it is what it is, you guys. Thank you for watching. I'm Nini FC. This is Blue Lions TV. Signing out.